we have to emphasize that inflation expectations remain very, very important for the sustainability of inflation at 3% over the longer term, right? So that's why the Reserve Bank would have already started to communicate the fact that they would like inflation to settle at 3%. What they're doing is already, given their credibility with strong communication, they can already start to guide inflation expectations lower. But what are inflation expectations? Inflation expectations are what you and I expect inflation to be, either in the immediate term or in the longer term, but eventually what we expect can filter through to what actually happens, because we are wage demanders. We can be price setters if you're running a business, right? Those inflation expectations become important because price and wage setters actually drive over time outcomes within the inflation space. It's a cost of doing business, it's demand stories. So as the Reserve Bank guides inflation expectations lower, they can actually embed a lower inflation into the system. What we see is that inflation expectations have started to come down, but it is more on a cyclical basis, right? We've had lower inflation in the past year, and that has supported our expectations of inflation if we are somewhat backward looking, right? And then if you think inflation expectations are becoming more dynamic, more forward looking, then it depends on what we believe the Reserve Bank is able to achieve over time. Then we start to think about whether is it 4.5% or is it 3%. The latest inflation expectations survey actually show that inflation expectations are maybe still anchored at 4.5% rather than 3%. It takes time, guys. It doesn't happen overnight. The Reserve Bank has to continue communicating. Maybe some people need to see government also coming on board, because it speaks to wage growth when I'm dealing with 10% electricity price inflation. So it means it's a meeting of minds across Treasury, the Reserve Bank, and maybe even us as the people, as civil society, starting to buy into this target. Then you start to see inflation expectations moving more sustainably in line with the 3% target. And I guess what has also helped in the past, you would remember the Reserve Bank it's not the first time that they changed the de facto target, right? The operational target. The last time it happened was around 2017, 2018, where they said explicitly they would like to work with 4.5%. It allows them a margin of error. So they did that, and you saw how inflation expectations took about 2 years roundabout to get anchored around 4.5%. But what can help during this time is contained. That will be something that helps. We're also hearing about cheaper imports from the East. That'll also help the import price story. We know there are disadvantages here. We're not ignoring that because they cost to production. But all of those things working together can actually mean we get to that 3% target without necessarily relying too much on the interest rate.